This podcast is brought to you by Rebecca Castles of the Rising Dawn series. Do you like violence? Do you like smut? Are you tired of the stereotypical novels of werewolf romance out there and want something a little bit different? Then pick up Sparked Revolution, Book 1 in the Rising Dawn series by Rebecca Castles. Available on Amazon, in Kindle, and paperback. You too can become a sponsor of Stories, the True and the Fictional by heading on over to buymeacoffee.com/STTATF or follow the link in the show notes. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional, the indie author podcast supporting indie authors from all around the world. But if you've been listening to us for a while, then you'll probably know that I need to ask Ryan the question, are you living the dream, Ryan? Living the dream.
I am.
Yes.
Definitely living the dream. I mean, not much has changed since when we recorded on 2 days ago, but everything's good, living the dream.
Cool.
I don't think I'm actually allowed to say if I'm not living the dream now, so, you know, like, even if I'm having a bad day, I still have to say I'm living the dream.
Would you want to put an ish on the end?
Nah, we'll go with living the dream.
Excellent. Yes, guys, we do have merch. It's down below. I actually started working on a new shirt today. I think it's going to be a fun one. I'm not gonna spoil it too much, although it might already be out when this episode drops. So who knows? Keep your eyes. It's especially, let's just say, if you're an indie author and you follow someone and you get an instant DM, it might be related to something like that. So, that's the teaser, but yes, anyway, we've got sponsors, Rebecca Castles and Martin Kearns. Check out their stuff. There's some great authors, great friends. Something for everyone. We've got Rebecca Castles with paranormal romance, characters modeled off Henry Cavill. That's always a selling point. We've got the urban fantasy from Martin Kearns, so the Valor of Valhalla series, check that out. And he's got a little bit of horror with a new book called Kinder, so check those out. But now, without further ado, let's bring in our guest, Molly Macabre. Thanks for joining us.
Hi friends, thanks for having me.
It's going to be great because it's a horror, and this is episode's probably going to drop in the middle of or early October, and October's scary, the time of the year, right?
Spooky season. I mean, for me, it's spooky season all year round, but it is a little bit spookier season in October.
Yeah. Well, it's peak spooky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you get involved in Halloween over there? Is that like a super big thing for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Typically, depending on, how our schedule is and what our energy levels can handle, but typically we love to decorate, put up all of the inflatables and do the spider webs and all the crazy things at our house. And again, depending on what we can fit in, we like to do the haunted houses and the haunted hay rides, and a lot of theme parks in our areas have, they have theme nights, and it's cool because during the day, they'll do like cute Halloween spooky, but then once it gets dark, and they'll warn you too, because people will just run around and scare you. So they're like, if you've got little kids, like this is the time to leave. And but you can stay after dark, and then you can go through haunted houses and just enjoy all of that.
Awesome.
I feel like that's what we're missing out here in Australia. We don't really have too many, like, I think there's a big one in the center of Sydney, that's on every year, around Halloween time, but we don't really have too many things like that. It sucks when you're a horror fan and you can't really get scared out here. I mean, I think the best we have sometimes at certain movie theaters, they will have like horror movie marathons on Halloween night. But that's about it. So I think we need to get on the bandwagon.
Yes, absolutely. There's so many fun things to do.
You could always come up to my place, Ryan, because every October there's like 12 people in the park and they dress up as Halloween costumes.
12
like
people.
12.
Wow, that's massive.
No, I think that's an underestimate. I think it's like 30 people, but it's funny because I live in the small. It's a really small town. It used to be heaps community focused, but now it's people come, people go, and they try to do the Halloween thing, but it's just like hardly anyone. I've always wanted because I saw someone do a practical joke once where they got a drone and they put like a Grim Reaper over the drone and just
Mhm.
flew around and like chased people with it. I'm going like that'd be so much
I
fun.
love that.
That'd be so much fun. So we've already tangented it a lot, but let's go back to the beginning and ask the question: Who is Molly Macabre?
Molly is a self-published author. Um, that's pretty much it as far as like my authordom. I'm a
Yeah.
mom, wife, pharmacy tech by day. Um, I have two published books and I'm working on a couple other things behind the scenes. My debut is a post-apocalyptic horror romance or a rom-com, if you will. My second book is a haunted spooky woods novella. So yeah, that's what I've got so far.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Ryan, and you're correct me if I'm wrong. You're a co-founder of Dark Veil Society.
Yes, yeah, I was as I was speaking, I was like, there's other things, and I'm just like
Yeah.
blanking. Yes, so co-founder of Dark Veil Society, we're a horror author collective, mostly just hanging out, sending memes in Discord, but no, we're like really supportive of each other. It's awesome just to have like a bunch of authors at your fingertips to be like,
Yeah.
hey, can you like, grammar advice is what's wrong with this sentence, or can you read a paragraph for me, or hey, can you share this post about my book that I just it's just all the things, or even personal things. Man, I'm having a really rough day mentally, you
Mm.
get tons of
Yeah.
support. I'm also a book reviewer for FanFi Addict. So it's really cool because it's really low key. I just read whatever I want, write up a nice review. It can be indie, trad. I don't tend to review trad too much, mostly because the trad authors aren't, don't really care about my reviews. But I like to review indie books and just it's hard being an indie, so I like
Yeah.
trying to help and push things out as much as I can.
Yeah. No. Well, we indie authors are much cooler than the trads, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Much more cool. Yeah. Cool.
My oldest actually asked me one time, she was like, "What does indie even mean? Incredible?" And I was like, "You got it. That's it. Incredible. That's it."
That's it. That's going on a t-shirt. All right. Well, we do have these icebreaker questions we'd like to ask all our guests because 9 times out of 10, if we get to know you behind the books, people will go, "You're really awesome. I want to buy your book." It happens all the time. So, proven method, guys. Marketing tip 101. So, I believe it's my turn to start the ball. Isn't it, Ryan?
It
Yes, it
is, it
is.
is.
So, we've got to
Yeah.
set the world because when we came up with this question early on, people got really political and wanted to make themselves feel good about their answers, but we're going for selfishness here.
Right.
So just imagine a world where a genie's come in and granted all of the Miss Universe contestants all their dreams of world peace and all that stuff. So the world's almost perfect, but there's a few pet peeves and a few things that need tweaking. So with that in mind, if you could get rid of one thing in the world, what would it be?
If I could get rid of one thing in the world. Um, I'm gonna say something and it's gonna sound like I'm being really righteous. I would get rid of hunger, but that's just because I'm so tired of cooking meals 3 times a day. I'm so tired of wasting time sitting down and eating. I have so many things to do that I'd really rather spend time doing something
Hmm.
else.
So what you're saying is we need that invention from Star Trek. I forget what it's called, where you just walk up to the thing and go, "Give me a hot chocolate," and it's like, it appears.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Or Amber Toro, she wrote Umbra. They have like a 3D food printer.
Oh
And
wow,
I'm
yeah,
like, I need this in my life. Can you imagine all the time you spend in the kitchen and doing dishes
yeah,
and you can just beep boop boop. Oh, dinner. That's perfect.
yeah.
I
No,
would invest
I can get behind that.
in that.
Someone
Yeah.
needs to start that. Um, I remember the Back to the Future 2 where they put the pizza in the oven for like 30 seconds and it goes whoosh. Yeah.
Yes.
Why don't we have stuff like this? Probably because it'd be really unhealthy.
Yeah, that's probably, or like, some radiation would end up in there and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. All right, Ryan, what's next?
Okay, so question number two is what is something that's on your bucket list?
Something that's on my bucket list. So I have ancestors from Denmark. I actually have some family living there now. I have this whole like Europe trip planned that I'd love to visit Scotland, Ireland. There's a place in England I want to go, and then I'd love to act like stay longer, like maybe a week or two in Denmark. So, maybe someday, but right now I'm too busy being a broke author artist. So,
That's it. Cool, cool. All right, well, I'm going to bring up a picture because this is Ryan's one of Ryan's favorite questions. This may be a landmark that you are familiar with. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mount Rushmore.
yes, yes.
So we basically want to know what your Mount Rushmore of TV shows is. So four shows that have stood out to you in your life that you would slam up there to be carved into stone.
Okay. That's gonna be an easy one. So first, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad
Mhm.
is my
Yep.
all-time favorite, just so dark and crazy and twisty, and it's just like that my comfort show that I can just put on anytime. It's a weird comfort show, but it's definitely my number one. My number two easily is The Last Kingdom.
Okay.
I love that show. I had started to get into the books, but there's a lot. I started the first book and like I was like three-quarters of the way through and Uhtred was still like a kid and I was like, how is he gonna fit all of this in this like last quarter of the book? And then I realized, oh, there's like 12 or 13 books. So um yeah, definitely need to continue that. But Last Kingdom is just epic. Number three would be I had it and then I lost it. Um Shoot, what was number three? I'll go with so this is what I haven't finished yet, but I'm nearly finished and it's really, really good as Mr. Robot.
Oh
Uh
Yep.
yes.
Very good.
I haven't finished it either. It got too intense for me. But
yes.
it's yeah.
My husband is really into computers and he's like, we gotta watch this show. And I was like, oh man, it's gonna be so nerdy and I'm not gonna understand any of it. And I was hooked by
Yeah.
the first episode. It was so
Mhm.
good and so crazy. Oh, number four, easy is Peaky Blinders.
Mm.
Mhm.
Peaky Blinders is really, really fun. And that one was funny because my husband and I watched it took us an entire season. I don't even know why we stuck with it, but we were like, this is okay. But after that first season, we couldn't stop. We were like
Mm.
staying up till 4 in the morning. We had to get up in 2 hours to go to work, that kind of thing. Like it was crazy. Um, Peaky Blinders is really good. So yeah, those would be my four.
Awesome. We've had Breaking Bad many times, and we've had The
Mhm.
Last Kingdom a few times.
A few times,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I love it.
it's good. Now
Awesome.
I haven't finished Breaking Bad, but I want to get back to it because Bryan Cranston's phenomenal.
Hmm.
You know, like and it's just that it's the transformation. I just
Yeah, and I always enjoy shows that take either a morally great character or a morally great situation
yeah
and like make you root for it. You're like,
yeah
yeah, let's cook meth.
yeah
And it's like, wait, what?
yeah.
And then when you have finished it, Jamie, you have to go on YouTube and Google the alternate ending to Breaking Bad where he
Mm.
Bryan Cranston actually wakes up as his
Yeah.
character from
I've
Malcolm in the
I've
Middle
I've heard
from
about
a
that.
bad dream and he's
Yeah.
got his wife next to him. He's like, I had this horrible nightmare. I was
Yeah.
cooking meth and there was a guy like it's just
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, insane.
Yeah.
That's
And then
hilarious.
you need to look up, oh, who was it? The guy who does, I think it's both actors, Pinky and the Brain,
Hmm.
were doing their voices and quoting Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Oh,
I
no.
think there's a whole series of Pinky and the Brain just quoting other hardcore shows. Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's kind of
No.
perfect though.
Narf. I love them. Awesome. You know Pinky and the Brain was done by Steven Spielberg?
No.
He was a
Hmm,
producer on Pinky and the Brain. Fun fact.
interesting.
Okay.
Hmm.
Awesome. All
There you
right,
go.
question number four is going to be more up your alley. So, what is your zombie apocalypse plan?
Oh man, my zombie apocalypse plan. So I would just be a survivalist, I guess. You know, we kind of collect items from here and there as we can afford them. You know, books on the edible, you know, plants in our area, two-way radios, things like that. And we actually started a thing with our daughters called Survival Monday, where we would just talk about a skill, like how to purify water, or we made a plan with them, like if something crazy were to happen and they were at school and like the internet was like, you know, electricity,
Mhm.
internet was down, we made a plan with them. So we would probably try to hold out at our house. But we live in kind of a populated area, so we'd probably have to just start moving in the woods and
Hmm.
pack bags and I don't know, just live in the woods.
Right. Cool.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, at least you don't want to give up. We have a lot of people who just
Give up.
say, we're just going to give up. We're
Oh
just going to
no,
become
man.
one with the horde.
No.
I think I would. I think it'd be like a little too much fun. You know, I The Walking Dead is probably really close on my Mount Rushmore of shows.
Hmm.
You know, I don't know if you can really research zombies to write a zombie apocalypse. A lot of it just comes from the
Yeah.
imagination, but you know, I practiced a lot of fighting and you know, skills that would be used to, you know, be safe or
Hmm.
not, you know, in some of the character situations. So I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Mike Molman said he'd put on he'd dress up like the Joker and then get bitten by a zombie, so there'd be a zombie a
He
Joker zombie
would.
out there. That's funny.
Oh my gosh, he's so funny.
He is. Check out Bald and Balding, guys, if you haven't seen it.
Yes.
It's easier if you type it in one word. I found out like if you're searching for it, because apparently if you just write bald and balding, it'll bring up all hair products and stuff like that. One word.
That's that's hilarious.
Now, are you familiar with Bill and Ted at all?
Yes. It's been a while since I've
Yeah.
seen any of those, but yes,
Well,
I am familiar.
it is 1989, so not everyone was alive around then.
Right.
So we have to check with this question because not everyone knows who they were. Despite it being Keanu Reeves' first movie, and everyone knows Keanu Reeves. So basically, the premise of this question is: Bill and Ted rock up outside your house in their phone booth time machine and say, "Whoa, dude, Rufus asked us to give you a free ride in our phone booth time machine. Where do you go?"
I would have to go to the Viking Age.
Ooh.
I'd have to be super careful because that just seems like a dangerous and wild
Yeah.
and crazy time. Um, but man, I just really love the culture and the history
Mm.
there. So I would go back to there and hide from afar and just check things out.
Yeah. You
No,
wouldn't
I like it.
you wouldn't become the myth in the forest, and then they'd start hunting you because they think you're a
Maybe I
creature.
could be like scary and mythical enough to
Yeah.
where they just like they're like, don't go in those woods. And
Yeah.
really it's just me from the future, like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I don't know if that'd work with Viking culture because they'd want to hunt it. You know?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They're like,
Um,
I'm gonna have that as a trophy.
yeah, pretty much. Ironic. Or ironically, it would be the thing that scares them the most.
True,
Have
true.
have you seen that movie with Jim Caviezel, Outlander, or whatever? He's like from the future and he crash lands
I have
in
not.
our time and brings like this alien creature with him, and then it's like in Viking era. I don't know if he time traveled or something. And then they've got
That
to.
sounds wild.
It's really good. It's like a monster flick. Um, so he's futuristic with all the future weapons and that, and he crash lands in Viking time, and then the Vikings want to go hunt this creature that's an alien. It's really cool, but it's really those. Oh, what was it peak? No, I think it was early 2000s. So it's like that peak monster kind of
Mm-hmm.
monster movie.
Okay. That's
Um,
pretty cool. I'll have to
Okay.
check that out.
Outlander, Jim Caviezel.
Kavizu.
Caviezel.
I
I
haven't
can
heard
never
that
say.
name in a long time.
Yeah, well, it kind of dropped off because I watched another one. He did a movie with Dennis Quaid called Frequency, which is
Yeah,
really good.
frequency.
Which is really
Yeah.
good because it's time travel without anyone time traveling. He's just
Mhm.
speaking with his father 30, but he's 30 years in the future. He's a grown man, and that like some thing happens, and then the radio signals go back in time. It's
Okay,
and it's got
that's
Captain Holt
fun.
in it too. If you know Captain Holt from
Yes,
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And guess what he plays? A cop.
What is he?
Yeah,
No,
so it's typecast. Yeah.
that's
Um,
funny.
cool. Well, you've passed the icebreaker questions.
Hmm.
Ryan's
Yay.
smiling with approval. The interview
Hmm.
can continue because there are
Okay.
we don't say it much, but there are wrong answers.
Ooh, good
But
to know.
you have to have a string of wrong answers. It's like, it's like 95% works.
Does the
Sometimes.
screen just go black and it's like this meeting can't be found?
Well, I'm on a
Hmm.
wheelie chair, so it's just like this. Well, that's harder with my flipping board doing its thingy. But yes, anyway, me and Ryan are comic book nerds. We like to know about people's origin stories. So, with that in mind, what is your author origin story? How did it start for you, and how did it get to this point where you've got two books out?
So I've always loved writing, from early middle school, maybe even late elementary school. I started journaling, and then within those journals, I was pretty emo when I was in middle school. Had a very rough childhood, so I was, writing angsty poetry and sometimes some short stories in my journals. Um, so I've always loved writing. I don't want to say I have had a knack for like the English vocabulary because if my editor watches this, he'll laugh. But I just have had a propensity for it, I guess. So then fast forward, I've always been a reader. I've always loved reading fiction, sometimes nonfiction, but mostly thriller, horror, whatever. I don't know. I got into like a Hunger Games and Beautiful Creatures, era. So fast forward to, let's see, it's 2025, probably, I guess 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, and I was listening to, so I do a lot of audiobooks. I have an hour commute. I don't have a lot of time for physical reading at
Mm.
home, so I do a lot of audiobooks. And I was listening to Stephen King's It. Took me 3 months. It's 48 hours long, but I was listening and I was like, you know, he's telling a story. And I was like, maybe I could tell a story, not one as great as the fantastic Stephen King, but maybe I could try it out. And, I was talking to my husband about it. He was like, why don't you just write a book? And I was like, okay, I'll just write a book. I was like, I don't know what I would even write about. But I've had characters that have kind of lived in my head for a really long time. They were like, hello, we've been hanging out in your brain for like 20 years, so we could write about us. So yeah, then I remember I was on my lunch break and I opened Google Docs and I started typing the first paragraph out on my phone. And then I said, "Yep, I'll never do that again. I'm gonna write on my computer from now on." But yeah, that's how it all started.
Awesome. We
Wow.
had someone who started writing through email. He was at work and he just sent an email to himself, and it was the first chapter of his book.
I
So
love that.
that's
One of my DVS authors, Blake, he does all of
Hmm.
his writing on the phone. And I was like,
Wow.
I
Wow.
don't know. Yeah, like all of it. And I mean, I've heard him talk about explaining it. I think it's kind of like kind of like for me, I don't like reading on my phone because there's too many things going
Hmm.
on my
Yeah.
phone. I'll just end up,
Yeah.
looking at everything else. I think for him, it's like when he's at his computer, it's just too much going on. So when he's sitting down
Yeah.
writing on his phone, it's easier for him. But man, kudos because
Yeah.
I could not.
We had him on, and I don't think that came up. Um, because he's like, isn't he like 6'5"? So his hands must be like, how does he?
Right. I
Because
don't
because
know.
because that's my
It,
he must have a
yeah.
giant phone because I can't type on my phone because it's just I it's
Yeah.
my fingers are too big.
He's very talented.
Yes.
I could not.
Um, so you mentioned Stephen King as,
Mhm.
is there any other inspirations from that kind of what influenced you in how you write?
Yes, I would say Stephen King definitely was my first big influence. I think a lot of things also come from like concepts. I
Mm,
have like a fascination with post-apocalyptic relationships. Not, and I don't mean like always romantic. I just
yeah,
mean how people function when there are no rules, when there
yeah.
are no societal norms. So, I read and watched Bird Box by Josh Mallerman. Things like A Quiet Place, The Walking Dead, of
So good.
course. Yes, yes. And it's like I get fixated on how these, complex, these relationships, they become so complex and they fall apart and then this happens. Um, so Josh Mallerman's writing definitely, Richard Matheson, I Am Legend.
Mm,
Um, the I so the I would say the book more influenced my writing. I do enjoy the movie better
mm,
as a like as entertainment level, but the book is very introspective and fascinating. Um, I guess things like even the Hunger Games, it has that how people
yeah,
team up and divide and make enemies and that really again added to that fascination and inspiration. So
Yeah.
those are my main inspirations in writing.
yeah.
I think the thing with because I agree 100% agree with you on everything you're saying, but I Am Legend especially, the book for me was like a completely different story.
Mm,
It had the same premise to it, but I think the movie just took the idea of what
Mm,
Richard Matheson wrote and turned it into the movie. Same with, I don't know if you've ever read World War
well,
Z or World
yep.
War Z, the
that-
novel. That is, to me, I watched the movie first because it's one of my wife's favorite movies. So we watched the movie hundreds of times, and then I bought the book, and I'm
Hmm.
like, wow, this is different.
different.
It's a lot
Yeah.
different. Because the book
Yeah.
is more told through like it's kind of like journal entries
Hmm.
and different reports and stuff like that, rather than the linear story that you see
Yeah.
in the movie. Which I think can work. Like I believe, like with I Am Legend, it worked, and with World War Z, it worked as well. But I don't mind when they do it well. But I mean, there are a few times when we've had this discussion before when, you know, film studios literally say this movie is based on this story, and they literally will just take the title or a few of the
Hmm.
characters and then just crap all
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely agree with what you're saying about I Am Legend because I actually read the book first. Once I heard that they were making the movie and it was based on a book, I went, bought the book, read the book, and then watched the movie. I'm like, oh, okay, I can see what they've done here, and I thought it worked pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if they were to make a movie, and make it the book, word
Mhm.
for word or however you want to
Oh,
describe that, I think it'd probably be really boring.
yeah,
But
definitely.
because it's a lot of, I mean, he's pretty much just sitting in his apartment a lot of the time. I mean,
Exactly.
he goes out a few
Exactly.
times and then there's the ending, but I think that part of it, that's what makes it so fascinating, is because he immerses you into the world and
Mhm.
you're literally he's the last guy on Earth, possibly, whatever.
Mm,
And then it's just all of his thought processes on that. So, I mean, I Am Legend, I love the movie. I think it's a lot of
Mhm.
fun, but if you reverse that, I don't know that it would make as great of a book. It might be too
yeah.
much going on. World War Z was so much fun. I watched the
Mhm.
movie afterwards, and I thought it was a solid, zombie movie, but I
Yeah.
definitely loved the way the book did it. But again, if you were to make the book into a movie, it'd be really confusing because there's just
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
much different things going on. But it was so funny because I listened to that on audio and it was a full
Yeah.
cast. So every
Mhm.
person, different accents,
Oh wow.
and there were
Yeah.
times when like I would forget, I mean not like fully forget, but I would almost forget that like this is fiction. This is not
Yeah.
actual interviews
Mm,
of people who survived this. But it's so fascinating. And again, it draws a lot of it, it draws on everything because there's so much going on in that book. But one thing that it draws on is again the horrors of things that would happen in a time like that. They made that drug to cure and it didn't
mm,
even work, but they were making millions, and it's like that's what's so scary, is this could
Mhm.
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
happen. So
Mhm.
I really loved World War Z.
Yeah,
Is
I got the I'm a bit- I used to be I used to my job used to I used to drive for Uber. So I'd have a lot of time to listen to podcasts and audiobooks. So I did actually, when I joined Audible, it used one of my credits to get the audiobook version of World War D. And that must be just, it must only have one version because I was the same. It's like a movie, but just without the pictures, you know what I mean? I could see it in my mind.
Mm.
And yeah, it was definitely, I think with World War Z, as much as I enjoyed the book, I think the audio book to me was a little bit better because of that voice cast. Like you actually
Hmm.
got what was in the book, but like it was a movie. In a movie inside my head, I like to
Yeah.
say
Right.
audiobooks are, you know, because you can visualize it yourself. But yeah, I totally agree with that's I was gonna say that with I Am Legend because yeah, if they made the movie directly out of the book, it would literally just be him sitting in his apartment for probably 90, probably 85% of the movie.
Just writing in
Um,
his journal and
yeah,
yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But in saying that, like
Sometimes
that
that
works for the
works,
book. It
but
does. It works
some,
for the book,
but
Hmm.
but it
I
just wouldn't work for the movie.
well, you don't know that. Like you should get like some if an actor can carry a film, like I mean,
Yeah.
classic example. There's a movie called Buried with Ryan Reynolds, and the whole thing
Yep.
is him.
Yep.
That's what I was
Yep.
just thinking about. Yes.
I was riveted. I was
Mhm.
going like biting my nails, and he's stuck in a box the entire time. He's on the phone. It was just like, um,
Yes.
I actually hadn't seen that movie, and it's weird because I'm such a massive Ryan Reynolds fan.
yeah,
I hadn't seen that movie till about 4 years ago.
yeah,
And it was just like a 90-minute flick. I'm like, okay, I've got an hour and a half, let's watch this. And I was the same. I was like sitting on the edge of my seat the whole movie. I'm like, this guy is so freaking good.
yeah,
He can, like, you're right. It's
yeah,
literally him on a phone for 90
yeah,
minutes in a box under the
yeah,
ground,
yeah,
and then you're rooting for him. You're like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And then the ending is just
yeah.
it's freaking tragic.
Come on, come on. Let's just cast Henry Cavill, and he can just sit there and write in his journal. They have sound effects around him.
Well, look, in all seriousness, I think
Yeah,
the only way that could have worked is if, and Smith is a fantastic actor. I pretty
yeah,
much love everything he's done. But I think the only way that it could have worked is if he was writing in his journal, but like it was kind of like flash forward or
yeah,
flash sideways, I guess you would call them. If he's writing in the journal and it's actually made of things that he did when he was
yeah.
outside rather than, do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what
and
you mean.
just sort
Yeah,
of show him narrating over the top of what he's doing.
yeah,
I think
Yeah,
that
that's
could
what I
have
was just
worked.
thinking of.
yeah,
When he's
Yeah,
like, I went out today and I
yeah,
don't remember what they called it, but when he like would infiltrate where they slept at
yeah,
and
yeah.
he's like, I went out today and killed some and and then it was
yeah,
showing them. Yeah, that could
yeah,
work, but
yeah.
But I mean,
other than that.
there's nothing like, and then the reason why that movie is so good, and I would never forget that scene. The amount of times I've seen the movie is, when the lady is being interviewed by the news reporter, and the news reporter said, "So you've essentially cured cancer," and she said
Mm.
yes, and then it just flashes to the
Yeah,
post-apocalyptic. He's the only man left in the world,
yeah,
essentially. Um, I think that is to me is one of the most iconic
yeah,
intros to a movie because it's just
yeah,
like, oh wow, we've cured cancer, and this is what happens.
yeah.
Like we
Yeah,
we turn into vampires. It's all essentially like,
yeah.
yeah. But in saying that, and I've said this on other podcasts, the one thing that I absolutely hate about horror movies, and it sucks because I absolutely love the Conjuring movies. I just went and saw the latest one a couple of weeks ago. They always have to kill the animals. Like that moment where
Um,
he had to kill his own dog, and I
Mm.
get what he
oh
had
my
to do it. I get
gosh.
it. I literally get teary every time that scene comes
Hmm.
up, no matter how many times I've seen it.
Yeah,
And
Hmm.
I was saying to Jamie and to our guest, I can't remember who the guest was, but um, in the Conjuring movies, because I rewatched the first three, I didn't have time to watch the whole universe, unfortunately, but I've seen them all. But I watched the first three Conjuring movies, and in all three of them, all four of them essentially, with the new one, the dog dies first. And I'm like,
Oh.
the spirit essentially kill. I'm a massive animal lover. I have You know, I have two beautiful cats who are like my children, and I treat them as such because they're my babies, and I talk to them, and sometimes they talk back, which I don't know if is a good thing, but
Right.
they're like I anyone like if anyone hurt my cats, like that would be my start to my horror movie that I would
Yeah.
be in, starring as the killer, because
Mm.
I just hate that. And me and my wife recently, because she can't stand horror, she can't watch any possession horror. She loves zombie movies, loves slasher film. We recently rewatched all the Friday the 13th movies from the
Uh,
1981 all the way through, and all the Halloween movies from the 1979 first one all the way to
Mm.
the end. And
mhm.
every time, and I will not lie, every time there's an animal, there's a cat or a dog, Michael or Jason, the two slashers, will leave them alone. I will let them go, or like they won't hurt them, and I think that's why I like those guys a lot more, because that's one of the two of the franchises that have heaps of movies, and not once does an animal die.
Then why aren't these people running around holding their cats and their animals?
That's a good point.
You know?
You know what? Because I
Yeah,
reckon they would take the animal off them, or they would find a way to kill them without hurting the animal, and then the animal run away.
I was gonna say, have you seen some of their kills? Some of them are crafty, so they'd find some
Mhm.
crazy
Yeah.
way to separate animal from human. So
Oh yeah. One of my favorite. I know we're already on a tangent, and I'm sorry, but one of my favorite two kills in those early movies, because my first horror movie I watched when I think was like 9 or 10, and that was A Nightmare on Elm Street, the first
that
one.
was my
Uh,
first.
oh really?
There you
Oh, there
go.
you go.
Yes.
Our parents must have been pretty awesome, because my parents were like, we know you're smart enough not to, you just watch it. And I remember they used to be on like 11 or 12 o'clock at night on Saturday nights, and that was the only time my parents would ever let me stay up to watch it, or they would record it on VHS and then let me
Hmm.
watch it the next day. But my two favorite kills from those early movies, the Johnny Depp kill in Nightmare on Elm Street
Yes.
1, where he gets pulled into the bed and the blood just
Hmm.
comes squirting up,
Yes.
and the Kevin Bacon kill in Friday the 13th, the first one, where he's like, I actually watched a behind the scenes documentary, and ever since I've watched that, he was talking about they actually had a prosthetic head for him.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, you can't. And that was back in 1981. I'm like, no, you can't possibly. And then every time I watch it now, because he's lying down on a bunk bed after just doing the deed with his girlfriend, as all
Right.
slashers do. And he's lying down, and then the killer, because I'm not going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't watched a really old movie, puts their hand over his head and just like slices his neck. And if you ever watch it again, you can actually, now that I've said that it's a prosthetic head, you can't not see the prosthetic head. It's just like it looks so fake, it's not funny. But then
That's
before, I never guessed it.
Yeah, I think I watched because I watched a documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street too. Didn't
Hmm.
they flip the room or like
Hmm.
they did
Yep.
yeah, the bed scene was upside down when they did that. And I
Hmm.
think we watched the one on Friday the 13th also. But it's funny because I feel like we'll set up a movie projector on our garage door
Oh,
and we'll
nice.
watch movies
Mhm.
outside. And last year on Friday the 13th, we watched Friday the 13th. I don't know if we watched the first one. It was one of the ones in the franchise. I think it was the second one. And we watched
Hmm.
that outside at night. And it was really, really cool. But my husband's the same way. He doesn't like paranormal or like possession horror, but slashers are, love slashers. Friday the 13th is his favorite. We watched all the franchises. And I'm gonna have a hot take here. Halloween, the third one, I did not enjoy.
I
No?
don't watch that as part of the series because Michael Myers is essentially not in it.
Right. Well,
It's
yeah,
just
we watched them like we had a chart. Sounds silly, but we had a
yeah.
chart and it gave us the order to watch. And then I
Hmm.
think we watched that one last because we knew like this has nothing to do with the actual franchise. So we watched it
Hmm.
last. I think I fell asleep with like 10 minutes left, and I was like, that was a waste of my time. But I
Mhm.
mean, not really, because now I can say I watched it and I didn't enjoy it. But it's just so funny because that's like I guess maybe it's a love it or hate it thing, but there are people that are like die hard over that movie, and I'm like, I don't. It was okay.
I don't really like movies with witches in them, to be honest, like me personally. The few exceptions are the Blair Witch Project because of what it did for found
I love
footage.
that movie.
Because found footage is my favorite genre of all movies. I absolutely, if there's a found footage movie, even if it's got like a 2 star on IMDb out of 10, I will watch it. Um, and that is my favorite genre of horror movies of all time. So Blair Witch, for what it did for that genre, is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, aside from Blair Witch and maybe one or two other ones, I don't generally like witches in movies. I don't know. I guess maybe it's because I don't really like period pieces too much, and generally with witch movies, they always go back to back to like the 17, 16, 17, 1400s for
Hmm.
part of the movie to begin with, and I don't really like that, but. Yeah, no, Friday, Halloween 3 is not on the list at all. I even said to my wife, she goes, "I've never seen it. Don't you want to watch it with me?" I said no, because I
No.
said you can skip that and not miss anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I would love to know why they did that, and I don't know. I mean, Michael Myers was. I know it was the first one where Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in, because she was in one and two, and then three, and then there was a bit of a time jump for four. But I don't know, maybe they just thought that they were going to make it like an anthology kind of thing. I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad they went back to the right thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Have you seen the Rob Zombie
Mhm.
remakes?
They're my favorites.
I Are they?
Mhm.
Anyway, so no
Oh,
horror movie.
no, no, no,
Oh,
no.
tension,
It
tension.
might just be because I love Rob Zombie as a musical artist. My wife actually got me into him when we met. Because me and my wife been together for about 13 years now, and she really got me into. I was more like punk rock back then, and she really got me into the metal, death metal side of things.
Mhm.
So I guess maybe because I do like all of Rob Zombie's movies, like House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, all
Right.
that. I'm a fan of his movies, so I I don't set obviously to me they're not set in the same universe. They're completely different stories, so I don't really
Right.
associate it with the original Halloween universe, if that makes sense. So I know a lot of people don't like them because of how he did them. But to me, I absolutely, I really like them. But I get it's no offense if people don't like them. I don't take offense. It's fine.
Yeah, well,
But
that's a fair assessment to approach it as something kind of separate from it, like or just like a rendition of it.
mhm, yeah.
I love Rob Zombie. Grew up listening to Rob Zombie, and I think that what our problem was is that we were on this kick of watching all the Halloween movies, and then
Mhm.
once we finished the original, we went to that, and so it was kind of like, I don't know. We watched the first one, and then we were like, I'm all set.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I get it. It's more like I feel like there's more of in the first one at least there's a lot more of young Michael and how he was I guess Rob Zombie was trying to show the psychology of how someone like Michael Myers is created essentially
Right.
given the environment that he was raised in and stuff like that. I guess he was trying to the other movies don't really try and paint, and I hate it, and unfortunately, I hate it when movies do this. They try and paint the villain as like, oh, they want you to feel for the villain when
Hmm.
no one's really just a villain anymore for the sake of being a
Right.
villain. And I get the Rob Zombies movies essentially do that. They show, well, look at the upbringing he had, look at the treatment that he had from these people, and the people that he left alive were people that didn't really treat him like crap. And like I guess maybe that was his way of sort of saying that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think I saw both of them at the cinema when they came out, and maybe because I was on a Rob Zombie movie kick, I was like, these are awesome. But I can get why people who are like major fans of the initial mythos don't really like them that much.
Yeah, he made him like huge, and I was like, why is he
Mhm.
so big?
Yeah, yeah, I know. Oh, because it was the guy that played Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's movie he was an ex-wrestler, and he was a guy that played Sabretooth in the original X-Men movies. I think his name was Tyler Bate or something like that. So he was huge, yeah, definitely hulking, hulking specimen of a man. But I
Yeah.
always picture Michael Myers as that guy, and then when you see the guy that actually played Michael Myers in the early movie, he was tiny.
Hmm.
Like he was a
Yeah.
tiny, tiny man. But I don't know, I just always picture these guys, except for Freddy, but like Jason, Michael Myers, I just picture them as huge, hulking, you
Mm.
know, monsters. Where Freddy's just like a foul mouth,
Yes.
like this little sad,
Slimy.
sick little man.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, let's segue back into why you're here. We'll start with the covers of your book. We'll
Mhm.
talk about your books, but I'll bring up
Okay.
the covers because Ryan likes asking the art question. So as far as I know, these are the only books you have. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Cool.
So you can definitely tell that they've got a horror vibe here. Nothing happy happens in these books for sure. Um, Except I suppose you said that I'm assuming Dark Bloom is the sort of post-apocalyptic story with a bit of romance in it. So maybe something happy happens in that book. But
Something or two.
so tell me about the art. Is that something that you came up with yourself, or did you contract out someone to do that for you, or did you because I think it looks absolutely amazing. So
So Dark Bloom was done by Hampton of TS95 Studios, and
okay.
I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I needed cover art, and from what I'd gathered on the internet, AI was bad.
Yeah.
So I I had stumbled across this list of like top 10 real cover artists, and I went through a lot of them, and some were too pricey, some were like more geared towards fantasy or sci-fi. And I found Hampton's site. I messaged him and I was just like, I don't know, here's what my book's about. Make me a cover. And I'm not visually artistic at all. Like I just can't. I'm getting better at it. I am getting better at it because I have a story, a different kind of story for what comes before. Um, we did work together on this because what he was providing me originally had people on the cover, which was fine, but it made it look kind of young adult. And I was like,
Mhm.
no, I was like, this has to show like there is a lot of, 18 plus themes in this book.
Mhm.
Um, I definitely would not want, somebody underage picking it up and thinking like, oh, this is cool. So yeah, he basically I said no people, and we talked about the skull in the hand, and he did all the work. And it what's cool is I wrote this. I don't really mention it, but I when I was writing it, I based it in Virginia because that's where I live and that's what I know.
Okay.
So I was able to kind of go off of what I know. And so that picture in the background of the house, he actually it's from somewhere in Virginia, but he specifically used, a rural Virginia picture for the background of that. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So that's not your
Awesome.
house.
No, not my house.
You're not burying skulls out the back.
Well, not at
Oh
that
no,
house.
no. Oh, FBI red flag. No. Um, it's not. Look, I think this cover gets more creepier the more I look at it.
Mhm.
You know, you're just like, oh, so Yeah. Would you want to tell us about Dark Bloom before we get on to what comes before?
Sure.
What's the premise? Did you aim for realism? Because we spoke earlier before about like how you like that post-apocalyptic can feel like this could actually happen.
Yes, I didn't get too much into like okay, so like World War Z is how the world
Yeah.
reacted to this.
Mhm.
I was afraid to get too much into that because I mean, man, Max Brooks, like what is he, an expert on everything?
Mm.
Like that's when I was listening to that, I was like, how I think I read it took him 4 years. I didn't want first of all, I enjoy more character-centered
Yeah.
stories myself.
Yeah.
But I wanted to focus on characters. I didn't want to get into a whole bunch of research and world building and government type stuff. I wanted to focus on these two characters and what was going on. So it's limited to their point of views. Um, and basically just focuses on the main characters and what happens to them. It kind of starts like 7 to 8 months after like 0 day, essentially.
Okay. Okay. So, do you kind of go into how it all started, or is it just you're just thrown straight into that world?
You're thrown straight in, but and you only know what my characters know because it's from their point of views. But
Hmm.
as things progress, they kind of learn things from other people in the world, and I will say definitely by the end of book two, they're aware of how it spreads, what it is, and well, how to prevent it, I guess. It's not like an airborne virus, it's a
Mm.
disease.
Okay.
Well, I guess I can talk about it because it's not like a secret. It's based off of a prion protein disease, which is similar to the mad cow disease. So that
Oh, okay.
is
Yep.
primarily spread by ingesting contaminated meat. Um,
Mhm.
so it's not like I Googled my book one day and Google told me it was a pass through like the olfactory senses through the nose, and I was like, no. A little AI like summary. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, the characters do learn more about the disease as the story progresses.
Mm. So you're saying
Oh,
everyone's vegetarian in your book?
No, it's from a particular source. They have no
Okay.
idea what that would be, but obviously once the world's kind of the society's collapsed, that source specifically is no
Mm.
longer an issue.
Yeah. So is this a standalone or do you see it becoming a series?
I have a sequel written
Mm.
that I project will come out in a couple of months.
Oh my, okay.
awesome.
It'll be the final in this series.
Okay.
So it'll be the final in this series. It'll be so Nick and Kate are my two main characters. It'll be the final like portion of their story.
Yeah.
However, there in my sequel there is a 12-year-old girl that they meet, and I am currently writing her story afterwards. So that's been a
Okay.
lot of fun.
So do you plan to answer all the questions or are you going to run some mystery? Leave a little bit of mystery.
Um, there's definitely no questions answered as to like how this
Okay.
started, what particular source. It's just what my characters
Yeah.
know.
That's awesome. Ryan likes
Okay.
to know all the answers to all the
I do.
questions.
I do.
And I love a little bit of, ambiguity, whatever the word is.
Well, I mean, if you don't sort of explain where it all came from, you do have the option down the road if you wanted to write like a
Yeah.
prequel, like with The Quiet Place Day One.
hmm
Like you've got that option to sort
Yeah.
of have a prequel set when this all happened. Kind of like Fear the Walking Dead, I guess.
hmm
The first
Yeah.
season of that kind of started when everything sort
Yeah.
of went down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I wasn't even planning on writing a sequel to my story.
Okay.
I ended it with kind of like a mostly close, there's closure. It was okay. It was open, but like closure enough to stop the book. And somebody mentioned it to me. I don't even remember. It might have been one of my beta readers, and they were like, you could write more. And I was like, I'm not writing more. I don't have any more to say about this story.
Yeah.
But what happened is, it kind of interjected into my brain, and I would be at work and I'd be like, ooh, well, I could write this scene. And then I'd be like, ooh, or I could write this scene. So before I was committed to writing a sequel in its entirety, I wrote out those scenes. So Dark Bloom, I wrote chronologically, chapter one to the last chapter. My
Mhm.
sequel, I wrote in different pieces, in different chapters, and I just had this weird script that I had to, like stitch together at some point. But yeah, when it got to be like, 80,000 words, I was like, okay, well, I guess we have a sequel.
It's awesome.
Cool.
So what about what comes before? Is this in any way related to Dark Bloom, or is it just something completely different?
It is something completely different. It is just I got an idea. We talked about how interpersonal relationships are really fun to dissect in horrid situations. This was kind of one of those thoughts that I thought about. What if two strangers meet in a place that they're trapped in? How will they react to each other? How will they help each other or not help each other? Um, they mostly help each other, but this one, so I started out thinking like a building with bad people, and I was like, after writing Dark Bloom and its sequel, I'm kind of sick of bad people. So what if we make it like a haunted house? And I was like, and the more, it kind of built in my brain, I was like, no, I need more room. I can't do this in a house. So it became haunted forest. And so two strangers meet in a forest, and they're kind of trying to work their way out, but the forest will not let them go and plays tricks on them, and harmful tricks. And it has a fun little twist ending. So
I love a good twist. I love a big twist, actually. Um, that's cool. Thoughts, Ryan? You gonna buy it?
Oh yeah, it's already on my Kindle
You've already
list.
got
So
it.
yeah, it's definitely definitely like after reading Janelle Cheeky's book that recommended both of them to me. So I'm like, okay, this looks good. And then I was like, oh, this one looks good. And yeah, so they're on
Yeah.
my TBR list. So
Yeah.
hopefully I can get stuck into them soon.
Yeah,
I
what comes before is one of those stories that does not fill in all the answers for you.
that's true.
And I have learned that not everyone likes that, and that's okay. I love it, and I've had some people who absolutely love that because then it makes
Yeah.
their brain like think
Yeah.
about it all day long and like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, is it this? Is it that? But I have thought about writing a prequel to this, which will give all the answers.
Mm.
So I don't know if that's a good idea or not because like I don't know how that works, but
Yeah.
it's a thought that has kind of been rolling around in my brain, but I'm really stuck on this other thing right now, so it
Yeah.
can wait.
That's yeah. No, I really like the cover.
Awesome.
The upside
Mm.
down trees. Are they upside down trees, or is it like a
hmm
yeah.
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 It's just basically disorientate,
Yeah.
disorienting forest. And then the watermarks are actually acid burns. It's
Oh.
from one of the scenes in the book.
Mm.
This cover was done by Jelena Gajic. She did the cover for the Clatterman.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And after I saw that cover, I was like, I really want her to do this cover. Oh man, she's fantastic. She's gonna do all my covers forever. Um, so I actually had a mock-up cover for her, like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And I sent it to her and she was like, cool, this is really great. And a couple, 2 weeks went by and she was like, hey, I promise I'm gonna like recreate what you sent me, but just these are some things I've been getting some inspiration on. And she sent me like five different concepts.
Mm.
And this one stuck out to me the most. And I was like, "Ooh, I really love it." And she's like, "Well, I'll make the one you sent me." And I was like, "Nah, don't
No,
worry
no.
about it." I was like, "This one's fantastic. I love it so much." And with just other than like tweaking some of the colors and everything,
Mm.
yeah, she's just got she's got such a vision. She redid the Veil for Eamon Bradley.
Hmm.
And then she's doing an I've already seen it, but she's doing the cover for his Puddle People that's coming out I think at the end of the year. So we've kind of just all like jumped on the Jelena bandwagon because she
Yeah.
just does such fantastic work.
So is she joining the society then, the Dark Veil
I
Society,
don't
or is she
know.
an honorary member?
She's a cohort, as our
Yeah.
website would describe her. We have all our cohorts listed, our our audiobook narrator, Jack Fields, and our editors and all of that.
So you mentioned like a sequel for Dark Bloom, but is there anything else in the works you've got going? Is there any ideas that you're allowed to speak about?
I have a poetry collection coming out,
Okay.
probably in about a month. I'm not like making a big deal out of it because it's kind of for me. I've
That's right.
actually found a lot of old poems from my journals from like 2004,
Hmm.
2006, 2009, and I'm just throwing them all into a poetry collection and some I've written to, this year and last year. And so I put it all together. It's just going to be ebook. It's going to be like 99 cents because it's,
Yeah.
I don't know what the market for poetry is. I
Yeah.
think it's really cool, but I just, make it cheap and put it out there. And now I have somewhere where like all of my work is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I might do more in the future, but I just think that's really cool. So I do have that. Other than that, no, the sequel and then the story I'm writing now that's in Dark Bloom's world are really my main focus.
Awesome.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, do you want to play a game? Most
Yes.
people play a game. Um,
Okay.
we had EL Lyons on last
I
episode,
love her so
and
much.
she really disappointed Ryan, but it was a hoot,
Mhm.
especially with this game. Um, so I'll bring up the graph so you can understand what the heck is going on.
Okay.
Um,
Understanding is half the battle.
yes, it is. So the game is called Story Pitch. We're basically going to give you a setting, a genre, a main character's profession. We do say optional edition, but everyone seems to do it. It's like throwing a spanner in the works. So me and Ryan have access to a graph with 1 to 6 on each of them. So basically, you're going to give us a number for each one, and you will have a surprise um, thing for said thing. And then you're going to pitch then you're going to pitch us a story with the parameters we give you. So I'm going to get
Perfect.
my pen. So 1 second. So give us a number between 1 and 6 for setting
5.
and genre,
2.
main character,
4.
and optional edition.
Do I pick a number for that one?
Yep,
Okay. 1.
1. Okay. Let's see what you've got here. So your setting is a cruise ship.
Mm. Okay.
Your genre of story is sci-fi.
All right.
Okay, so main character's prof. Well, this might be one that you know. You're an author.
Oh, that's the main character's profession?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I
All
threw it
And
in there for a reason. Optional edition is number 1.
it- yeah, optional edition. This is something that must be in your story, and that is an urban legend figure.
Mm. Okay. Okay. So this is sci-fi.
Set on a cruise ship. Main character is an author, and there is an urban legend figure. You can create an urban legend yourself, like Janelle Shika. You can take the Clatterman if you want.
Oh, I'm
You know.
taking it.
Oh, okay.
Um, okay. So the story is Janelle Shiki on a cruise ship writing the Clatterman, except the cruise ship is in space and there's a war going on and she's actually the commander, but she can't get this story out of her head. And every time they try to ask her, Commander, what do we do next? Like we've got these warships, they're attacking us. She's like, Just one more chapter. Just one more chapter. She's working on the sequel, I guess, since the original is already out. So I don't know. This might be like the movie of writing in the journal the whole time. But I mean, there's war going on. I mean, it's a cruise ship in space. Pretty hectic stuff.
I like it. I really. Oh, that was too well for you. All right, round two. We had
Round
three
two.
three graphs. One's hard mode and one's not so hard mode. But
Okay.
so you can give us the same numbers because it'll be a different outcome, or you can give us new numbers. It's completely up to you.
Yeah, let's just do same numbers.
Same numbers. Okay, so that is 5 for setting, 2 for genre, 4 for main character, and 1 for optional edition. Okay, so your setting on graph number 2 is the zoo.
Okay.
Your genre, once again, is sci-fi.
Perfect.
Main character's profession is a dance instructor.
Okay.
And your optional addition is an M. Night Shyamalan plot twist.
An M. Night Shyamalan plot twist.
Okay, so it's a sci-fi set in the zoo with the dance instructor and an M. Night twist.
Okay. All right. So I might have to talk this one out a little bit. All right. So dance instructor goes to the zoo and sci-fi. So okay, so the story goes the dance instructor is going to the zoo and they are attempting to teach the animals how to dance. They go there every day. The animals watch, performs a dance, but at the end you find out that the animals are all robots and they've actually commanded her to dance for their entertainment every day.
Okay. I
Oh,
like it.
you're too good at this. Do you come up with ideas this quickly usually, or
No,
no?
sometimes maybe, I don't know. It's funny, I don't know if you guys have read Tender is the Flesh, but that's the first thing I thought of when I heard the zoo, and I was like, oh man, horrible memories. It was a good book, but just very, very dark.
Yeah. I think we're gonna have to play hard mode now.
All right, let's go hard mode.
Same numbers or different numbers?
Same numbers.
Same numbers. 5, 2, 4, 1. Okay. So
I get
on
sci-fi again.
no, it's not. I checked before. So your setting um is an old lady's high tea party.
Okay.
The genre is cyberpunk.
Okay. All right.
Cyberpunk tea party. Your main character's profession. Where are we? 4. Is a mad scientist.
Okay.
And the optional addition is Godzilla.
Old Ladies Tea Party, Cyberpunk, Mad Scientist,
And
Godzilla.
Godzilla.
All right. So Godzilla's attacking the city. We've got a bunch of ladies sitting around, except they've got like, purple hair and all kinds of mods. Um, I'm gonna go generic with this one, I guess. Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist. Okay. Mad Scientist sitting at the table with these little old ladies. They're all cute with their pink hair and their, like their, eyes that glow because they have displays in their eyes. And Godzilla comes to wreck the city and the mad scientist because the mad scientist is probably the only one that can defeat him. But then these old ladies rip off their wigs and they're actually like cyborgs and actually fight alongside the mad scientist to defeat Godzilla.
Excellent.
That's the best I got.
Excellent.
Excellent.
That's good.
well done. I'm very impressed. Someone needs to make them into books now. Which is
Someone far
what I'm
more
playing with.
talented at
Well,
sci-fi and cyberpunk than me.
I can, because I'm brainstorming idea, because I put out a post a few days ago saying if we did a writing competition, how many people like would you enter kind of thing. We had like at least 10 people say they would. So I'm like, so now I'm thinking for a writing competition, we should people have to listen to the show, take the take story pitch and turn it into a do a short story on that. I
That
think that'd
would
be a
be
really cool
funny.
idea.
Absolutely.
See if you guys, if you're listening, let us know if that's what you'd be in for, because I think that'd be funny and
Yeah,
and fun.
definitely.
But yeah, anyway,
Who?
thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
It flew by. Um,
I know.
all you got to do is get two people in a room that like horror, and they're just
I know. I
you
was
know,
like having to make myself shut up because I'm like, we could go on about this for hours.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for being our first October guest of spooky
hmm
season.
Yes,
I
of
think the
course.
next
Thank
one, spoiler alert, I think our next one we're recording is with SS Fitzgerald. So
Oh.
we're
Awesome.
working our way through um
The Dark
the
Veil.
Dark Veil Society.
Yes, that's
Um
awesome.
yeah, no, because I was on Sean's. I recorded an episode with Sean. I did Birds and Words, I think he does.
Yes.
But it's not out till like next year. But I recorded it like 3 months ago. So
hmm
it'll be a surprise for me because I'll forget everything that I said. Um
I know. Yeah, it's funny. I think that was how it was with like Safi Idiosyncrasy. She was
hmm,
like, "Oh, your episode, it's coming out next month. Remind me if there's anything like you didn't
yeah.
want, if you want to cut or edit or whatever." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "I don't know what I said. Just roll it. Like,
Yeah, that's it.
go
Yeah,
for it."
I feel that awesome. So what we're going to do is what most people do at the end of a podcast, and that's give you the floor to plug yourself. Where can we buy your books? Where can we follow you? And plug the Dark Veil Society if you want. The floor is yours.
All right. So I'm Molly. My books are on Amazon. You can buy signed copies from the Crafty Bookstore, which is an independent veteran-owned bookstore online. Um, The Dark Bloom's on Audible. What comes before the Audible production is in process. Darkveilsociety.com is where you can find me, but you can find a ton of other amazing horror authors, pretty much horror of all kinds there. I have a website that I sometimes remember to update, but it does have all my info there. It's macabreMolly.com. If you go to fanfiaddict.com, you can find great reviews for indie books. You can find me there. You can find my reviews. I probably forgot something, but I think, oh, I'm on all the socials pretty much. I'm on Insta, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, X. Um, Probably forgot something, but yeah, I'm there. I pretty much cross post, but I'm there posting all the things all the time. So if you're interested in what I got to say, there I am.
Awesome. Well, I will leave all the links for that down in the show notes, guys. If you want to reach out, thetrueandthefictional@gmail.com. But remember, we have got a pretty big, pretty big list of people that are wanting to come on. I actually got an email yesterday saying, "Can I come on?" And I said, "Yeah, but there's a waiting period." And they said, "Oh, I was hoping for next year." So I like those emails where it's
Yes, yeah.
give me 6 months notice. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, guys, check out our sponsors: Rebecca Castles, Martin Kearns, buy Ryan's shirt, and keep an eye out for the new merch that's coming. And until next time, keep supporting those indie authors, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
See you next time.
See you, friends.